Hi everyone, welcome to my studio on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. I am hosting a little bit of a celebration today, a birthday party if you will, for my brand new website, Painting Lessons with Marla. Can you tell I'm excited about it? So there will be sparkles, there are cupcakes, and of course there are gifts. And my gift is a full-length version of the cupcake in both oil and pastel. But before I get started painting, I do have to tell you what is the best part of the brand new website. The beautiful, brilliantly clear, responsive design it's amazing. Whether you are on your phone, your tablet, your computer, you're going to get a beautiful, seamless experience. So check it out. It's wonderful. The other thing that I'm super excited about being able to bring to you is monthly pastel painting lessons online. That is a mix of my most popular lessons and lots of new content, but each month comes together with a study guide, a PDF that's every month has about 20 to 25 pages of information that guides you along in your study. I think that they're pretty cool. So check out the website. I think you'll like it. So today I'm going to start painting with the pastel, and then we're going to move to the oil. Now I don't have a prop any longer. Yesterday I did a practice version in oil, and of course I had to eat the cupcake, so I'm going to be working from that painting and a photograph on my iPad. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about the website, and I'm going to be walking you through both the pastel and the oil versions of this today. So stick around and I hope you enjoy it. Okay. Before I get started painting, here's a little view of my studio. It's such a lovely place to work. Okay, here we are with our pastel version. A couple of things here. Now this happens to be a piece of Wallace sanded paper, which I know this is a little backstock that I've had. This paper is a little bit tough to get a hold of these days, but this is kind of a scrap piece that I had, so I'm going to use it here. And the other thing I'm doing here, so this is 6 by 6. I've divided it into quadrants to help me with my little sketch. The other thing that I do that I've done here that I don't typically do is I've taped off my composition. And I don't usually do that, but I think it would be nice because when we get done and we'll have a nice little reveal. But I still have a nice little segment here of my paper that I can do test marks on, which is really important to me. And as I'll talk about that as I work on the piece. Now, again, interestingly enough, this little cupcake is pretty much sitting for the most part in this lower quadrant here, sitting here like so, just about like so. And the candle is coming up here, and we've got a nice area here for the flame to come up in here. So that's about what we've got. A nice strong cast shadow, which it would have. That's going to indicate that we've got this beautiful glowing light. So that's pretty simple. Now I'm going to do a watercolor underpainting. So what does that watercolor do for me? That watercolor underpainting, it does a few things for me. First of all, it's going to cut that pesky white. And that's usually an issue for us pastelists. And the other thing that it's going to do, it's going to lend color harmony by giving me a unified background. That's really nice. It's also going to lend some spontaneity and serendipity to my whole piece. So I really like that about it. So I'm going to just kind of jump in with some playful color in the background, but I'm also going to concentrate on filling the tooth of the paper, filling the white. The watercolor is thin, so it's not going to do too much in terms of the thickness of the tooth. It's just going to cover the white overall. So, okay, so let's jump into that. And I've got a little color palette here. And I'm using a watercolor palette. And I'm also using a bristle brush, not a good one, an older one that I've used for this purpose quite a lot. I don't want to use a really nice sable brush or a good brush that I really like for oil painting. I don't want to do that. The sanded paper will totally wear down my brush. So got to be a little cognizant of what kind of brush I'm going to use. And so I'm also right here, I'm going to keep that area where the flame is. I'm going to try to keep that nice and bright white of the paper, right? Because it's going to be important to my theme here of happy birthday. But I'm going to get a kind of fun mix of color in this background. This little blooms of, that's something you can't, they're serendipitous. You can't plan those. So just come around my shape. Maybe get some other kinds of fun colors. I'm going to be a little playful here. Get this, some suggestion of this cast shadow. It's good. So I'm doing a little bit of the structure of the painting. Cupcake. But also a lot of like fun color. Now the watercolor is going to dry quite a lot lighter in value than what I see here, especially on the sanded paper. So I'm going to try to get a little bit darker in value overall, and I'm going to want that contrast in value regardless, because I want that glow, right? So there's my cast shadow, nice strips, that's fun. So what I think I'll do right now is I'll let this kind of, let those blooms happen, let the drips happen, and let it dry just a little bit. I'm going to take a hair dryer to it and get it to dry a little bit faster. Okay, I really love what's going on here on these edges, these blooms. That's something I wouldn't be able to get with just pastel alone. So these kind of edges, this kind of thing, that's really cool. So now I want to go in here to the interior of my cupcake. It's so fun. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of that bright yellow. I'm going to preserve that little white there because I think that might be important. moving forward. That might be helpful. And then there's my candle. And let's see here. I basically got 1, 2, 3, I guess 4 little. Ah, look at that. That's fun. Bring in some nice, really bold color. I think that's cool. All right, now, underside of my cupcake. Isn't painting fun? Oh my gosh. Here we are. I get to paint. Yeah. Dark side to the, and it moves over. A little lighter. And I think that's a pretty good move. Now, we could even do a little playful thing on the side of the flame. That's pretty fun. We could even come in here and get a little, we know we want this to be darker, right where the cupcake meets the tabletop. You know, eventually we're going to want that. We also know eventually we're going to want this to be kind of have this kind of glow. So we can kind of come in here. That's pretty neat. Now, I think this all kind of sets us up pretty well. Let me see. I'm going to want, no, we're going to want some of this warm light from the candle. No, we're going to want that. So we can go ahead and set that in there with the, and I'm going to get rid of this white. Maybe I'll leave that there and that. All right, so now I'm going to take that hairdryer again. I love this. It's so interesting. Okay, I'm looking at this. Is there anything else that might be useful for me to add in addition with the watercolor? And I'm thinking there might be. Yeah. What if I added this dark right here at the base? What would that be like? I think that might be really helpful. I've got, it just kind of helps set the tone. Now, my idea for the pastel here is to have it be kind of loose and gestural and playful, but I also really am intent on capturing that glow of the candlelight. So it's kind of coming between that kind of loose attitude and the capturing the light. So that will be my challenge here. It's a good one. I think always looking for a challenge. Yep. Nice. Okay. I think that sets me up in a very excellent way. So let that dry completely. So what you want to do is you want to let that watercolor dry. So when you put your hand on, so this part up here is completely dry. So when I put my hand on it, it doesn't even feel cool. It feels the same as over here. It feels room temperature, basically. I can't really tell the difference between this and this. So that's what you want before you dive into any pastel application. You know, if you add pastel to slightly wet watercolor, you know it's okay, but you're going to get this sort of different kind of mix. So you know, pastel is water soluble. So when we add pastel to any wet surface, you know, we're going to get some mix of that. So just to be aware of that. So I really want to make sure on the whole, when I'm doing a watercolor underpainting, I really want to, on the whole, make sure that this is completely dry. And using a hair dryer, that's good, or you can put it out in the sun. That's another way to do it. That's a nice way to do it. If you have some sunshine, or just a little patience and time. All right, so we'll wait for that to dry, this section that I added to, wait for that to dry completely, and we'll get back at it. All right, now this is nice and dry. Got a little bit of a buckle, but I'm okay with that. I know you guys sometimes get a little perturbed by that, but I kind of am not. So I'm, you know, gonna just soldier on here. So the question here is where to start. That's always a question. How do I start? I like what's going on here. I love some of these blooms. I love this red over here. I kind of want to keep all that because that's kind of suggesting this like glow. I love that. I love this over here. I kind of like the dynamics of this. It's got a nice gesture. I like that, you know, it's more interesting than the photo in that way. So I am thinking about how I began the painting, the oil yesterday, and so I'm thinking about that. I really like how that turned out, but in pastel, you know, I think I might want it to be more loose, more playful. So I'll think about that as I go forward. Do I want it to be quite as tight? I don't think so. So, love what's happening here. So how much of this do I want to keep? And what else do I want to do? That's the question, right? Okay, so don't want to get rid of the good stuff, but sometimes we have to surrender some of that in order to make the whole work. So that is something to keep in mind. So I'm going to come over here with some sticks and think about, I think this is close to what I want for here. Though it's a little lighter in value. So I'm thinking I want basically 3 kind of lights. It might behoove me to put the lights in first. Now that's not something I would have thought, but it might behoove me to do that. Because it's easier for me to see those lights than it is anything else in this. Kind of interesting, so. Yeah, maybe. I don't think that's bad. Okay. So, boy, there's a really kind of cool, glowy like so. That yellow light is really pervading this whole little structure of the whole thing. That's nice. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, so now I maybe want to get down in here and into the, what do you call that? That's the little, yep. And so I want a little bit of quality of light here. That's not the right value. So I want that to turn a little bit darker over here, significantly darker rather. Now that isn't bad. Let's do something. Let's set this guy down on the base of the table. Some nice dark. I have in mind that this cast shadow stays nice and luminous over here. Now that'll be important to me. And I want to load up some nice color as well on that, where that cast shadow meets the light. Always a good opportunity, no matter whether we're working in pastel or oil. There's this vibration that happens where light meets shadow that we can, as painters, say something about. And I think I need to get up in here, a little bit darker, and also a little bit more neutral, because I do want to have the most intensity of color happening in my cupcake. Even though I love all this over here, it's really neat, I do want to make sure that the star of my painting is the cupcake. That's, so therefore I need a nice value difference. So I'm going to go ahead, be a little bit bold about that. Whoop. That's some nice stuff right there. So one thing I see in my students on the whole is when something is working, we need to be aware of that. And I think that we're really pretty hard on ourselves in that we tend to diminish that. We tend to not recognize what is working and kind of perseverate on what isn't working. And then once we get kind of stuck on a spot, it's really, really hard to get out of it. So for myself as a painter, I'm always trying to go, okay, what's happening here? I'm looking at the painting as a unity, as a whole. And look at this. We already got a kind of good thing going. We already got a good happening. It has a good quality of light. It's starting to work. That's fun. Way fun. If we get stuck on what's not working in our paintings, then we stay there. Okay. I like it. This is nice. What else should we do? Maybe even a little bit darker down here. So it's kind of abstract. It's different than the oil painting that I did yesterday, but it's got its own kind of quality that's unique to pastel, which is what we want. We don't want our pastels to be exactly like our oil paintings. I don't. I want that light in there. That light coming down. It's hitting that space. It's going inside those little crevices. It's really cool. We can say something about them. We're making just little suggestions. We're not, we're not saying every little mark. Well, that's pretty cool. Definitely like that. I'm going to leave that red there. It's beautiful, so I'm just going to leave that just as it is. I also like some of these edges right here. I think those work really well. The little bits of watercolor popping through. Nice. So we're going to leave that. And what else we got going on? You guys know that I love aqua. And never met an, I did a whole mini lesson on aqua. Never met an aqua that I didn't like. It's such a harmonizing color. Such a beautiful thing to put on edges. Let them vibrate. You don't want to overdo it, but aqua is pretty spectacular. Now, I'm going to talk about Terry Ludwig's. You guys know that I do not endorse officially. I'm not an official endorser of any product at all. Maybe someday I will be, but right now I'm not. That's not happening. But I do love Terry's pastels, and he has a beautiful set of aquas that I recommend. He also has a new set of nocturnes that are coming out. I think they might be out now. They're just pretty fabulous. I love the iridescence in them. And check those out. He's a good guy. And Jeff, who's now, Terry's kind of retired, and Jeff is kind of running the biz. And so, yeah, they're good people. So love to support what they're doing. So, yeah. Okay. I like it. It's neat. Definitely got a different kind of flavor than the oil. And that, that's what we want. All right. What's next? I think that we need to work on that flame. There's a lot going on in that flame. Little bit of blue right there. That's all it needs, that little bit of blue. Little touch of blue. Little touch of orange. Right there. That's not so bad. And what about the candle? I don't want to get into it too much. There's a little bit of dark. That's fun, right? Right there. Don't you love it when you're painting and you make a little mark? Like, oh, that is the mark. That is the thing that pulled it all together. That was the bomb. And that's kind of cool. All right, now, right up here, isn't that sweet? You put that in there, and that's kind of sweet. That's really fun. Painting such a little exploration. I love it. Yeah. Going around the corner, around the corner. Okay. really nice and different than the oil that I did yesterday. I don't really like that. Cover that up. I like that more muted tone. All right, so now I'm going to think about that flame just a little bit more as I'm pulling into the finish line on this, because I really like the loose quality of it. I'm going to leave it. I think that's really appropriate for this pastel version. Love the little bits of watercolor popping through. It's really neat. Some of that. Oh, yeah, it's fun. Okay. Maybe a little bit lighter right there. That's good. Oh, I need my sprinkles. Holy moly. How did I forget the sprinkles? All right. I need to put those in. And they're kind of sitting in these little crevices. So when if you guys decide to do this, make sure that you get the variety of shape and scale. Kind of fun. It's little, and they also have I can't sometimes I can't talk when I'm painting. I try. I'm pretty good at it, but they also have highlights on them, which is kind of interesting. So this one's coming right down here. Sprinkles! Sprinkles to celebrate the new website. I really hope you guys go to the new website and really enjoy it and check it out. The monthly lessons are, I spent so much time organizing all the lessons, new content, old content, really in a very intentional way. So I'm hoping that you guys really appreciate that. PDFs are cool. I spent a lot of time. I designed them myself. So, we have a really small team. It might seem like it's a big operation, but it's not. It's really not. It's just 3 people, literally 3 people. Web person, he's my best friend, my loyal editor, Kevin. He's amazing. He just, he's such a good egg. And me. And that's it. There's nobody else. This is not a big corporation. And so when you're contacting support and contacting us, you're kind of contacting me, and I hear about everything that happens. So I'm on it, and I really want to make everybody feel like they got the most out of what we're offering. Totally. So yeah, please know that it's a kind of, it's very mom and pop-ish. Yeah. And everybody here, we really love you. We love each other, and we're bringing it. And moving forward, we are totally bringing everything we can muster. We're super excited about the new website. I'm going to just get this to turn the corner just a little bit more. Okay, I think that's good. I don't want to futz. I'm futzing a little bit. So I want to get a tiny bit of, if I can, if I can get little highlights on those sprinkles. I don't know. I might be able to manage it. I'm using the very edge of a new, see I missed new pastel. Nope, I didn't get it. Cover that up. All right, I'm gonna have to try again. There we go. That's a little better. There we go. That's fun. All right, just fun. Fun, fun, fun. All right, now, I kind of like the flame just as it is, honestly, you guys, but I'm gonna take this white pastel here and I'm gonna go ahead and make a stroke. Oh. Just like that. I think that's really fun and dynamic, and I think it has a cool quality of light. What do you think? All right, so that is it. Happy birthday to paintinglessons with Marla.com. Please check it out. We are so proud of it. We're really proud of everything. And let us know what you think in the comments, and make sure that when you sign up that you get your coupons, okay? Don't miss out on those coupons. We're having a whole site sale until August, and in August we'll be coming out with oil painting for anybody, which is a oil painting workshop. Not a monthly product, but a standalone workshop, a 5-week long workshop, or 5 weeks of content, I should say, that is really oil painting that anybody, even if you've never oil painted in your life, you can jump in there and get started with oil painting, and try to make it as easy and comprehensible as I could possibly do it. Lots of information about mixing and materials, and lots of stuff in there for you. So I hope you enjoy that. It's coming your way, and I hope to see you guys soon. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more things here and there, just to futz around with this, because that is fun to do. And it come in here with this. Look at that. That's pretty darn fun, right? Okay. All right. Okay, here are all the sticks that I used to create this little pastel. So there are a variety of values and intensities in each of the color families, as well as a pretty wide variety of brands. Here's my setup today. You can see that I've got my iPad stand, and I have to say I cheated a little bit because I wanted to light that candle, so I did take a photograph of it. So I used both the cupcake as a prop live and the photograph when I did the little painting, and that's cool. So today I'm working primarily from the photograph, and also I'll be referring to my original painting. My surface is just a inexpensive canvas board that I've primed with yellow ochre acrylic, and that's fine to do. You can use acrylic. Some oil painters like to use oil, and they like it a little bit wet. I know Carol Marine does that. She likes the when she primes it, she uses oil and she wipes it down. She likes that little bit of wet, but I kind of don't. So I tend to use acrylic. It's 6 by 6. Now I've got that little piece of palette paper next to the canvas board. And when I'm painting and I'm left to my own devices, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use a larger glass palette on my cart. But today I'm in the studio by myself filming for you guys, so I don't want to do a 2-camera setup. So the little palette paper allows me to show you the mixing, which is really important for the oils. So I'm just going to use that, and I'll need to scrape it down probably once or twice so that I have room for the colors. But it's totally adequate, and that way you guys get to see what I'm doing. So that's my setup, and I'll pull in real close so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And I'll show you what colors I'm going to use. I'm going to add a couple colors today because I want that purple in those little what do you call those little sparkles, whatever those are called, and in the candle. And it's kind of tough to get that nice bright clear purple without adding a dioxide purple to your palette. You can get close, but I want it to be really nice and clear and bright. So I'm going to go ahead and add a couple extra colors. On the whole, I'm going to use a Co-Primaries palette. All right, I'll show you what I'm going to use. All right, I'm going to set up my palette. Now I do feel like with paint, it is important to have good quality paint. And I like Gamblin paint. One thing about it is they're a Portland, Oregon company, so I get to support a local company by using their paint. But their product is really, really great. Now, if you're going to skimp on the quality of your oil paint, don't skimp on white. You use a lot of white. You want it to have a good texture and thickness, and so if you're gonna go spendy on anything, do it on the white. All right, so I've got white, and I'm gonna add Naples yellow. So this is an addition to a traditional Co-Primaries palette. Now this Naples yellow is gonna be really important in this particular piece because if you look at the photo, there really isn't very much white. When I got right down to it, when I finished the piece yesterday, the only white that I really used was right in the flame. Okay, so I've got Naples yellow, I've got Hansa yellow light. Let me see if you can see that. Hansa yellow light. And then I'm going to add, this is my second yellow, even though I've got the Naples, my third, Cad yellow deep. You could use Cad yellow light, but I'm going to go for the Cad yellow deep today. And then Cad red light. I have a mix of the larger tubes and the smaller tubes that when I'm plein air painting, I'm going to bring the smaller tubes. That's kind of why I have a mix. All right, then I am going to add a quinacridone let's see, I gotta find it. Here it is. Or this is actually permanent rose. Now this is also an addition today because again, I'm wanting to get those kind of nice, bright, clear colors. But usually I would just go for a cad red, and then an alizarin crimson. So a little bit expanded today on my palette. Okay, then I'm gonna go for a couple earth tones today. I really like burnt sienna for my drawing stage. And then burnt umber is definitely a go-to because I'm going to use burnt umber and alizarin and maybe some ultramarine to get a black. I'm going to mix my black. Now on blues, I want, again, kind of that co-primaries idea. An ultramarine blue and a phthalo blue. Now I ran out of Gamblin phthalo, so I'm stuck with a little bit lesser quality paint. But that's okay. I'm gonna still persevere. This is the Dick Blick Studio. So this is, it's just not quite as good. And then I'm gonna add, like I said, I'm gonna add a dioxide purple. I'll do it over here today. So kind of expanded palette. So what have I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 colors. Ordinarily, I'd be keeping it to about 10. But for today, I want to get some of these nice, bright things that are happening in those little sparkles. Okay, so now let's get painting. Okay, this is maybe the boring part for you guys, but it's probably the most important part. I'm going to pre-mix some paint. I'm going to pre-mix some families, and I'm going to mix up more paint than you might think for this little piece. I think it's important. I think one of the mistakes I see students make on the whole is they don't mix enough paint. So I've got a little residue from the burnt umber and burnt sienna on my palette knife, but that's okay because what I'm going to mix first right off the bat is some kind of this aqua that's going to go in the on the side of the, so, and I want it to be a little muted. I'm going to use some Naples yellow. It's going to make it a little greener, and it's also going to have a tendency to make it a little more muted. And I think that's close. Be a little bit lighter. Maybe not. Maybe I want it to be a little darker. We'll see. We'll see. It's close. It's in the ballpark. And so I've got a little pot of paint here that I can use to take a little bits off of and make kind of sub mixtures. All right, so now I want sort of I see quite a lot of, it's kind of a pinky purple in that frosting. So I'll see what, get some white. And I think I'm going to use this, but I don't want too much. This is the Rose Madder. And I want it to be kind of purple. So I'm going to head to the ultramarine blue rather than the phthalo because this is a blue that is already heading closer to purple on the color wheel. If I added the phthalo, it would have a tendency to mute it. And I don't want that, at least yet. This is about what I want. That's good. Now, how about some oh, you know what? I need some, definitely going to need some raw sienna for that bottom of the cupcake. Left that out. So that's another addition to my palette. See, I really am going to need that for the base of the Cupcake. I want some of this. I definitely used this yesterday. That's for the actual cupcake part. Need some of that. Maybe even some of this. Brighten it up just a little bit. That's pretty good. So you see I'm pre-mixing some color. And what that does for me when we're painting it, the mixing process, we have to think a lot more. And we want to kind of minimize that thinking. More painting, less thinking is one of my mottos. So if I can do some of the mental processing work ahead of time, when I get to the actual painting, I can be much more in flow, and I want that. All right, let's think about that background a little bit. I've got some kind of interesting mix of color, but I've got some nice kind of muted tones in that background, and that's for a reason. Very intentional on my part to have muted tones in the background, because I want that cupcake to pop. So if everything in my painting is the same intensity, I'm not going to get that. So I want some muted color, chromatic grays in that background. And how do we get gray? Well, gray is basically all of the primaries mixed together. So if we add blue, yellow, and red, and maybe a little white, we're gonna get gray. Definitely gonna get gray. Some variation. See that? That's pretty. All right, maybe let's get started. I want something kind of dark. Got some darks. So let's see, some alizarin, some phthalo, and some burnt umber is going to give me a nice, really dark. That's good. Nice, rich, almost black. I could get it to black. I don't want it quite that dark. Right. All right, so what am I going to use for a brush? I love this brush. It's so beautiful. It's a rosemary, long, flat. It's the flat tip, the long bristles, and it is got these sort of soft. It's not hog's hair. It's more almost like a synthetic. Nice brush. I wish I had 10 of these. Okay, so where am I going to start? I'm going to wet my brush just a little bit, but then I'm wiping it off. And so the first thing I'm going to do is come along and get some of this color in here where I see it. Maybe add a little tiny bit of medium, but not much. And just come along and get the shape that I see of this in here. And as it turns the corner here, it gets a little darker, so I'm going to add a little. And I want to mute it down a little bit, so I'm going to add a little bit of So as it comes along here, it gets a little darker. Stain on the end of my brush still. Don't need to get in there and not yet. Okay, so now come in here, here, and get this one. It's so fun. And then there's this little shape right there. Just breaking it down, just kind of, and okay. And then cleaning off my brush. I think I'll go ahead and get this, the actual cupcake. And it's kind of dark on the side, so I'll go ahead and get this in. Just right now I'm going for the value, not worried about, you know, I could start to say these little, but I don't really need to yet. Really concerned about the value. A little bit more movement on the paint. So I just want to set up this, at least to begin with, okay? Now, I think already it would be good to go ahead and get that cast shadow in and start getting the background in, because everything's relative. I really don't know very much about what I've got in here until I get some background. And so I'm going to go ahead and mix up a little bit more. Let's see. Yeah, I want to get something a little darker for that. And there goes my neighbor. It's Sunday. It's yard day. And I have my everything nice and wide open in here today, so get to hear my neighbors. All right, let's start there. Let's see, that might be a little too dark. Mix it with this. We'll see. Can always adjust it. I want to get a little more phthalo. Yeah, I want that kind of pop of color. Little nice dark. Where the cupcake meets that tabletop is nice accent dark. And now I'm going to mix something that's tending a little more green. I see that green over here in the tabletop, right? I want it muted, so it's green. I'm going to add some little bit more of that burnt sienna to it. Need to get it to flow a little bit more, so I'm going to add some more medium to it. And I can do a little something that's saying something about get some more paint on here. For this background, I think I'm going to switch to a little bit bigger brush today. I think I did yesterday too. Get a little more color on this edge too, a little lighter. As the shadow comes to meet the light, there you can load up on color, and you can also lighten up on the value just a little bit. All right, that's a good start. So what do we want for the rest of the background? I know what I want to do before I get any further. Back here, here's my there's the shape of my, I can always play with that. I want that candle to be pretty straight, so just drawing it with the negative shape. I can always play with that, but then this comes out. It's kind of a fun little shape to the frosting. The only way I'm going to get that glow is to have the value relationships correct so that the candlelight really pops. So I need to make sure I get that dark enough behind the candle. And maybe I should mix up a little bit more paint so that I can get background in. Move a little bit faster. It's going to take me all day if I don't stop talking so much, but yeah, come on, Marla. That's not what I want. I want a little bit. You know, when I'm mixing, I want to try to get there with as few moves as I can manage. But right now, I'm not concentrating enough to do that. Sometimes when I'm painting for you guys, I'm thinking about what I'm supposed to say instead of what I'm supposed to do. So sometimes I mess up. All right, I'm going to go for this bigger brush. Get a little paint on here. It's a good thing. And let's see, let's play with some yellows. Get some green back there in the background. That's nice. I'm going to really establish some good kind of muted color. It's really, that's what we're doing here. Getting some nice kind of grays, colorful grays. All right. Okay. Get this flowing a little bit. That medium really helps your paint move around and flow, which is something you want. But you want to sneak up on it so you stay with that principle of fat over lean. We'll come back to that flame a little bit later. Getting some kind of losing the edge of my cast shadow, so I want to reestablish that with some light. Now it's a little softer on this side of the cupcake, a little stronger over on the other side. So I want to say something about that. A little red in here to kind of suggest that glow from the candle. It's a cool thing. Okay. Now we've got some stuff to work with, right? Pretty hard to say very much about the interior of this cupcake or the frosting until I've got some other things going. I need to build all the relationships. Nothing is existing in a vacuum. This is true. Everything. I think. How the world works, what I can tell. All right. A little philosophizing as we're painting. All right. Let's get going on that frosting. All right. We may need to scrape down my palette to get a nice clean spot to mix up. I believe I need some nice clean yellows. And I want to get those in. over here. Okay. Add some more of this. Yeah, I like that. That's something I didn't really include yesterday. It's kind of peachy tone. I think that's kind of working. I like it. That's a little too dark, but I'm going to leave that right there for now. That might be the right thing. Under here, it's pretty dark. Okay. Now, I think in here, I need some more darks. I think I'll work on the this part. What do you call that? Okay. Now I'm not going to try to, and I didn't yesterday, I'm not going to try to do every one of these and get them exact. I just want the suggestion of this, the little paper. That's it. Just the idea of it. That's all I need. The power of suggestion is amazing. As painters, we really rely on it, lean on it even. And we want that. We want there to be something in there for our viewer. You don't need to say the whole, every little mark. I don't think. That's not what I want to do. A little bit different than yesterday. That's good though. Don't want to do it exactly the same. Every time it's a learning thing. Every painting. So there's some aspects of that I like better than yesterday, So that's good. Sometimes when you redo stuff, it just doesn't turn out as well the second time, and that's okay too. But that's not bad. Okay, what I do feel like is this little a little thicker, a little juicier, a little darker. And that's nice. All right, coming along, coming right along. Now, I think it's time to concentrate a little bit on the flame and the candle. So the flame, right at the base, there's a little bit of blue, like hot, hot flame. So I want that. I'm going to go ahead and put that in, kind of on either side. What else is going on in that flame? Really look at it. So there's a wick. So there's a little dark wick. Got that. And there's this hot red. There's a glow around the edge. Yeah. It's really bright. So we can use that cadmium yellow. Get that really nice and soft for the glow. Keep it clean. Keep that paint clean. Keep your brush clean. You want that edge to be nice and soft because it's a glow. Maybe I'll go for the larger brush, get it really dry. I don't want any terp in it. I want it just to be blending with the paint that's already there. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, I want to add some cad red to that. Because right on the edge of that flame is a nice hot red glow. Oops. Get that cad yellow in there. And again, get my brush. I don't want any medium or terp on it. So I'm mixing just with the paint that's already there so that I can get a nice blending. Okay, it's pretty good. I want more. I'm going to really clean up right here. There we go. I'm going to have to blend that too. We'll see how that goes. I'll leave that for now. Now, what I'm doing, you guys might have noticed this, I'm saving the best parts for last. I love that about painting. You get to anticipate the really yummy things. And I'm doing that a little bit. And I'm not doing it for showmanship, honest. I am doing it because it's fun for me. Very selfish. Okay. Very selfish. What I'm talking about is the whites. And I'm actually not going to use white. The only place I'm going to use white is on that flame, and that's it. On the actual cupcake, it's going to be some nice creamy colors that I'll show you. Get some of these neutrals down in here. I love it, whether you're pastel painting or oil painting, when you make some marks that like, oh yeah, that was good. Let some of these edges be kind of fun and soft. All right, time to do some more mixing, and I need to make some space on this little palette, so I'm going to scrape off a little spot because I want to mix that purple for the candle, and I want it to be nice and clean and clear. I'm actually going to, at this point, throw my rag away for one thing, and so I try to minimize that. I'm always trying to be as environmentally friendly as I can be. It's a little tough as a painter to do that. Oh, I see one thing I want to do. I want to darken this up just a teeny bit. But yeah, I'm always trying to, you know, be as environmentally friendly as I can be within reason. You know, it's hard. I'm going to darken this and turn this corner a little bit more. Darken this up. See that? I just want to. But I'm also going to do one thing here. I'm going to also bring a little, did that yesterday, little glow to it. That's pretty good. All right. So back to my purple idea. So it's the dioxide purple, some white, get a nice clean dab of white. And there's a pretty nice purple. It's kind of, it's also got some blue in it. So at the base, down there at the base, I'm going to start with some blue. And in this case, I'm going to use some ultramarine blue and a little bit of white. I'm not sure my brush is totally clean. I gotta make sure my brush is really, really clean to get that nice, clean color. Now, the purple. Now, here's where you want to use your other hand as a kind of a maul stick. Get a little straight edge. And then there's all kinds of interesting color going on there. There's also kind of pink that's right here. And a gradation of this blue. In this little candle, there's a lot going on. Get the purple back. And then there's a little bit of glow coming down into it. And then at the very, very top, there's definitely, that's pretty white. So I'm gonna get better, really, 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 really clean. This is one thing I know from just all of my experience painting. A lot of times we get lazy, like, oh, I'm not gonna clean my brush off totally. I'm not gonna get new clean paint out of the tube, whatever it is. But sometimes, you know, we really have to make that extra effort. I think that's pretty good. And then there's some yellow. That, more of that pink. Blue is gradating a little bit more. Something along those lines, and I'll come back to this later because it also has a little highlight on it. And then I want to clean up the edges as well with the background, so I can come back in and restate the edge with the background. Again, I'm using my other hand as a little bit of a maul stick. There aren't a lot of instances when I'm wanting this, and a lot of times I'm okay with it having a really soft edge, but right here, this is the focal point, and so I want, I want a pretty clean edge here. This is the opportunity for that. A little blending. Keeping it real. All right, now is a super, super fun part of this, is now I get to mix up some color for, let's see, I want to do a little bit of action around here, you guys. What's this? Something like that. It's not quite right. I want to mix up some color for the, finish out this cupcake. these darks. Ooh, here's, I've still got some nice darks. Ooh, I'm messing this up. That's kind of looking good. Yeah, that's maybe a little too bright. Let me see. Settle that down a little bit. It turns that corner. What did I do yesterday? I kept it simple, a little bit more simple yesterday. I didn't get too involved in that. I don't remember ever really getting too worried about it. Okay. I kept it way simpler yesterday. So I should do that today. Right there. That still says it. Okay. All right, now on to the ending part that's going to be really fun to do is that nice light yellow right in there. So again, I need a nice clean spot to mix on. And I need some nice clean paint. And maybe I'll get rid of my rag again just because that way I know I'm not going to contaminate my brush or the knife. All right. So I want to mix up this nice, so I want to get nice clean bit of white paint and some Naples yellow. That is cool. This little pot of paint. Clean out my brush really well. Wipe off my brush. Now I can use some more medium because I'm going to want this paint to be nice and juicy and thick and flowy. And now I get to play. This is the fun part. This is the fun part. All right. Right in here. See already, you could kind of see, ooh, that's fun. It's going to be different than yesterday's. That's all right. Keeping it really clean. Soften some of this. I don't want to get into picking on it too much. It's always a danger. Okay. A couple things I do want to do. So I want to bring a little bit more color onto this edge here where the cast shadow meets. A little bit lighter, brighter. Kind of to suggest that glow. A little bit more fun mark making in there. Brush work. All right. That's pretty darn fun. Okay, now what about that flame? Need to just do the very last fun, most funnest thing. Oh wait, I want to do this. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Whoop, too much. All right. Last funnest thing is to put that white on the flame. So get my brush really clean. Get the most cleanest dab of white that I can get up here. And I gotta kind of go for it. That's pretty good. I think I'm gonna leave it. If I do anything, it'll mess it up. So there you guys go. So now we are on to the pastel version. I hope you stick around to watch that too. And yeah, so yep. So happy birthday to Painting Lessons with Marla. I'm so excited, you guys. Yep, now. Too much. Now I gotta fix it. Oh no. There we go. One more thing. There's always one more thing to do. All right.